We are beautifully, melanated. To another episode of Beautifully Melanated podcast. I'm here with my wonderful co-host Kay. Unfortunately, Sarah's not able to make it tonight. So, Kay, over to you.
Good evening and welcome. So we're recording on a Sunday evening. You are going to be listening on a Monday morning. So good morning to you. So yes, we had a little hiatus in the summer break. If you remember, we recorded fortnightly instead of weekly so that we could all have a break and refresh and recharge ourselves. So we're back. And there is a new segment coming out on the podcast, which will be a little 5-minute segment on the things that have impacted me in the world today, because I like to rant and rave or celebrate. So this week, I'm going to start it off with Serena Williams' retirement or evolution away from tennis. I watched the games with my heart in my mouth. I had tears watching her play with such courage and determination. And the one thing I'm going to take away from Serena, she has been one of my favorite sportswomen for time. Apart from the banging body, if I could order a body from a catalogue, it would be hers. It's her attitude towards playing. I don't know, Karen, if you watched her games over the years, but I remember she said she doesn't think about the point that's been lost. She literally plays the next point as if it's the first point. And that really stuck with me because I'm given to ruminating sometimes. And that really helps me to not so dwell so much on the point that I've lost, but to focus on a point ahead in front of me, because that's what helped her to win big matches when she was down. So any thoughts, Karen, on Serena's career?
I think she has just been such an inspiration, hasn't she? I mean, she's a powerhouse, right? You know, this woman is, you know, she hits that ball like, you know. So I love watching her play. And in fact, I was thinking about when her sister Venus started.
Yes.
I remember when Venus was very, very young and she came out into court and she played. And then I realized she had a sister, Serena. And I was just so, I don't know, just inspired by them as sisters. And the sacrifice it must have taken their family to have got them to where they are, because, you know, young girls of color in tennis was very, very uncommon at the time. It still is, to be fair. And so I just thought, you know, how amazing it is to watch, you know, these two girls playing. I think over the years, they've been quite controversial in the sense that, well, actually, no, I wouldn't even say they're controversial. I think that the media's sort of impression of them or their opinion of them has often upset me. When I hear British commentators, I often think they're quite biased.
Yeah, they are.
Especially when the sisters play against each other.
Yeah.
But to me, I thought that was really awe-inspiring. You know, you've got two sisters playing the final at Wimbledon. I think it's amazing, right?
What?
But I found that the commentary was quite negative. I remember that listening to comments that I thought weren't fair. But anyway, back to Serena. Yeah, I just think she's phenomenal, right? She's amazing. So that was my thought.
She played doubles with Venus. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday night. And even just to watch them play together again, I mean, it would be the last time for Serena. It was awe-inspiring. Her farewell speech was also wonderful. She thanked her parents. She said without Venus, there would be no Serena. So she thanked her sister. We were all in tears. Well, I say all of us. Yeah, even the commentator was getting quite emotional. But yeah, I would quite like. Already she's inspired another generation anyway of tennis players. Naomi Osaka, Coco Gauff, and not just Black players as well. I would like you said, maybe for now, the negativity around her, when they look back at her legacy and her greatness, that's what they'll focus on now.
Absolutely.
Because she's done some incredible things in the world of tennis. So yeah, that's what impacted me in the world this week. So moving on, tonight's topic. It's also a current one, Karen. It's a conversation I've been having for at least 2 years with my daughter, but especially this week, right? So I think it would be a good idea for me to introduce her to potential boyfriends. I think I know her well and I could make a good choice for her. She absolutely balks at the idea, refuses to even engage, tells me it's unnatural and cringe, and I disagree. I think there is some value in the parents being a part of a process. I'm not saying go marry this guy. I'm saying it's an introduction. You might like the person or you might not like the person. Either way, I know their families. You know, in my case, Karen, I'm going for my friend's sons. I'm keeping it very small, exclusively. And I think she should give it a go. She's absolutely horrified and thinks I should stay out of her dating life completely. What do you think, Karen? What are your thoughts on parents doing the introductions?
I am completely with you on this, Kay, actually.
Yay!
Absolutely, 100%. I tell you what, I used to go to a friend's house and really lovely family. They had an eldest daughter who was at uni and she knew lots of friends who were doctors and nurses and teachers, just like a sort of community of people. And we talked a lot about introducing our children to sons of our friends, right? So I thought, this is a really good idea. When Jada becomes of age, wouldn't it be nice if she was part of this community and I could introduce her?
Yes.
To the sons of doctors.
Right? The eye roll.
So that was my thought. Jada was not of that opinion, unfortunately. She was horrified. But you're making a really good point. I think we're not suggesting that they get married. It's not an arranged marriage. We are just making suggestions and we are introducing them to young men that we think, I mean, look, we don't know, do we? Because we don't know what it would be like if our daughters dated these guys, right? But we're taking it on face value. Yeah. They are the children of our friends. So we know their family background. We kind of, we know what sort of homes they've come from, that sort of thing, right? So I think it's a really good idea. We are just making that first introduction to a young man that we think would make a wonderful suitor.
And let me just correct myself, or woman, because our families are not just made up of heterosexuals. But I wonder how many still in our community who are gay, who would be willing to say, look, my daughter is gay or my son is gay. Would you like, but I just wanted to make it more open. So I would do the same if it was a same sex relationship. I would still think I could pick the girl for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a fair and important comment, definitely. Because if you have a child who is bi or gay, absolutely, the same would apply. So I think, but I just think that it's not that we know best, but like you say, we know our daughters, we know our children, right? And we also would have had the privilege of meeting people that we think would be really great for our daughters, right? So I think, and it's so difficult to meet people. I think this would be a really good, And
we're watching these children grow up because they are children of our friends. Exactly. So we have a really good handle on who they are. Exactly. Whether or not they would mistreat my daughter or, give up with my son because, it's not going to happen with him. But it's also something about having the community around them. So not just they're in this relationship in isolation. And, I bring home someone to introduce you to when the relationship is quite serious. And at that point, my eyes are on stalks, for instance, because I'm thinking, whoa, all the red flags are coming out. But by this time you're committed, you're down the road in the relationship. You and I are now going to have a fight. If I say, actually, I don't like your partner, I think he's a bit of a, So it's also being in that family unit, not even family, but just in community. I think it's quite important not to be isolated when you date. Because looking back at my first marriage, well, my only marriage so far, I would probably not have married him had I seen him in the fullness of who he is. Had I seen him interact with his mother, his sister, his brothers, his friends, his extended family. But we were in this little love bubble in the Caribbean, and I didn't do my due checks and diligence. So I would quite like to spare her from that as well. Yeah. To say, actually, I can say this person is who they say they are.
I think that's a really good point. There are actually communities who are like that. There are communities who, you know, there's that sort of sense of togetherness. They know the family's backgrounds, etc. And so, you know, when they introduce children or young people to each other, there's already that sort of family already in existence. Yeah. And there's that support
yes,
that I think is really necessary, actually, because especially when you're a young person just starting into a new relationship, I think it's nice to have support. You can go to like an auntie and say, well, actually, what about this? You know, and I quite like that. So I have seen how other cultures and other communities have done that, and I think it's really lovely. And I've tried to emulate something similar, much to Jada's.
Plus, also, if they begin to move mad, we know exactly where we're going to find them with their nonsense.
And like you said something really important. It's being involved from the early onset, you know, from the initial kind of stages, as opposed to, like you say, way in, you know, months later when they decide to bring them home, and by then. And I'm thinking about somebody I know actually whose daughter is dating someone who, you know, the poor mum is beside herself because it's a really, as mum describes it, a very, very toxic relationship, very, very unhealthy. Her daughter suffers from severe mental health, not necessarily because of it, but it hasn't helped.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And that's really distressing. This woman is really struggling, watching her daughter in a relationship that she finds really, really unhealthy. So it would alleviate those sorts of issues, wouldn't it? I guess if we were able to get involved early. So I'm right there with you.
Hurrah! Now then, we were clever enough to have our daughters in the house, so we're going to bring them in, Jada and Aliyah, to give their perspective on why they think it is such a terrible idea. Jada's, your face was just telling a whole story. So would you like to go first, Jada? What do you think of this idea?
Okay, it's not that I find it terrible and like it's just like awful, like it's a diabolical, hideous plan. It's just the idea of like there's a pressure, like, so I get introduced to some guy, I don't even know if we like the same things, interests. Then our parents are like looking at us like hawks or like vultures, like, okay, go bingo, like trying to force you to. And I feel like I think kids should have control of like their destiny, not to sound cringy, but like they should be in control of like who they're going to have to wake up to every day and share a house with and pay rent. Do you know what I mean? So that's my take on it.
I agree. Yeah, but we wouldn't take that away from you. You're not married him.
No,
you've had your chance.
Isn't the intention to get married on later on? That's what like ethnic Caribbean.
Always.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so, you're bursting at the seams. Jump right in.
Back me up. Okay, I'm gonna do like a kind of like this is an essay. So you've given me your points. I'm gonna counteract them.
Mm-hmm.
As you were speaking, all I could think of is, and this is specific to me and my mum and our relationship, but I have never not let you been involved. True. You have been my first ever date with insert name. You literally came and you brought Aaron and Aaron's friend and you sat across from us at the Costa. How much more involved can you get?
You were 14.
Second date, I'm 17 now.
18.
I was 17.
Oh, yeah.
You made us go to a specific place, which is right around the corner from our house.
Yeah.
Picked up and dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already going to tell you everything afterwards anyway, regardless of how it went, because we're just that close.
Yeah.
So I don't understand your point. I think that applies more to my brother. I think he might be a bit more secretive and just drop kind of a person on you.
But can I just say, second date no, you were 18.
No, I was 17.
You were 17?
I was 17. It was the November.
He is white British, so she's outside of her race. So now my antenna is up because serial killers tend to be of a certain hue. And I'm not saying he was that, but I'm not reading about my daughter on no news.
I want to point out that this is the person I went to theatre school with on the weekends for 2 years. I think I would have sussed if that person was a serial killer.
I'm easily freaked out. It doesn't take much for me to go, is my daughter coming home or is she going to be splashed across the headline?
But then is that my fault?
No,
it's not my problem.
For safety reasons, yes, I said stay close to home so you can walk home if it's not working out well. She had money to pay for her half if he didn't offer.
And he didn't.
And I could get to her quickly if she was distressed. So I'm not saying I would be doing this in her 20s. She wouldn't let me. But at that age, it's a safety thing for me.
So
that's why.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Okay, Jane.
I would like to say quickly that Kay's opinions do not reflect mine. So please don't come at me. Thank you very much.
I want to go on record. I do not think all white British men have the potential to be serial killers.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying, statistically.
That's just how it sounded.
Interesting, Jada and Aliyah. Can I just say, interesting how you both kind of saw how that could be offensive. But when stereotypes are made about us all the time, we're expected to suck it up. Black men are... Black men are dangerous. Black men are aggressive. I don't want you to bring a black man to my house. And so, it goes both ways.
I don't suck anything up. I don't trust men generally.
But, on a serious note, I hear what you're saying. As a mother, as a parent, your daughter's dating and safety is at the forefront of our minds, isn't it? Right. So especially, Leah talked about her first date being at 14. You're young and impressionable and vulnerable and all those things. And, we want to protect. So I completely agree with the way that you handled that. I think you handled it really, really well. I wouldn't want to let my 14-year-old out there just sort of, on a date or...
Wasn't allowed to.
I don't disagree with how you handled it. But I say that to say, I don't know why you think I wouldn't involve you unless you pick the person, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no. But this is my point. How comes you don't trust me to pick the person? It goes both ways.
You don't really have a great track record. And I bring this up every single time we have this conversation. Because you're picking based on things that I think are valuable. I'd like to date someone from a good family, someone, I know is going to get on with my family. That's something I've worried about in the past. But you tend to ignore I need to like this person bit. What do we have in common? What are we going to talk about? Where are we going to go places? Do we even want the same thing in the future? Do we live near each other? Because I don't drive. So I just think...
But that's way down the road. An initial introduction would answer some of that. But there might be no spark, no vibe. And then you'd be like, yeah, that was nice.
And then that's just a waste of time and money when I could have told you no from the offset because I know myself and I know the type of person I would date.
That's so you brought... it could be months later. So, for example, let's say it's really trivial, okay? Kind of embarrassing. I love orange juice, okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't like orange juice. I'm sorry, we can't progress.
Exactly.
But I'm saying something more serious than that. It's going to just snowball and cause issues later on.
No, but what we're saying is it's just an initial introduction. Right, for example, Kay suggested someone to me for you. Right? I didn't even tell you, to be fair, because I knew.
Okay.
I didn't even tell her. When I met him, I thought, what a lovely chap. Oh, he'd be nice. And I liked him. But the thing is, I know my daughter, and I don't think that it's what she would go for. So I'm really mindful that it's not what I would like for her, but what she would like for herself.
Right.
And there is a difference. You're quite right, Aliyah.
I appreciate that, Karen, that you thought about it.
You are right. Yeah. You are right. I'll take that.
Because I do think to myself, there are lovely, young men out there that think, oh, he would be nice. But like I say, that's my perception and they're my biases, right?
Mm.
I would have to really think, okay, so who would my daughter like? What would spark her interest, and what kind of guy or what kind of person would she be attracted to? And that's sometimes they are not the same. Sometimes there is, they're different things. So I'm mindful of that. which is why I didn't mention the person. He was lovely. And I would have loved it if they could. But I didn't think she would have been right for him. I don't think he would have been right for her. And also, because she has said, look, Mum, I really don't want you involved in that way, I've had to take a step back, right? So I am with you, Kay. I do agree that it would be lovely, and I think it would be really helpful if our children allowed that kind of involvement from us. But the reality of it is that I think we're just too biased. I think we're coming at it from quite a biased space, and we'd have to be really, really mindful and open that we went for what we know they go for. And that's going to be harder, because the thing is about our children is that there are things that they present to us. We know certain elements and certain aspects of that, and there are hidden things that we really don't know about, right? And we can't tap into those things.
No.
Only they know. So I have to respect my daughter's wishes and not get involved, as much as it pains me.
Oh, it pains me too. I just think...
No, it doesn't, because you haven't stopped. You have to stop first.
One date, and if it doesn't work out, it's cool.
Yeah.
But can I just quantify my earlier comment? Sexual violence and murder against women is at an all-time high.
Yes.
I mean, every time Aliyah steps out the door and I'm not with her, I have a little anxiety. She's going to come back home safely. No, I don't think all white people are stupid. No, because they're not. And that would be too generalized. Generalizations are not true. What I'm saying is I didn't know this young man's background. I knew nothing about his background. So therefore, I'm going from the position of, there could be a serial killer, prove me wrong.
But then, do you not think that that is something I would have thought about?
Yeah.
Like, if I got, and you know me, you know that I'm
You're
quite...
not street smart, though.
No, but I'm intuitive.
Yes, you are.
I can pick up on people if they have a dark energy, and I'll point it out very quickly. If I thought that by going on this date, regardless of where it was, I didn't mind that you picked where it was, because I like that place. I like eating there. But if I had any thought in my mind that it could go wrong, that I could have been in danger, I simply would not have gone. I wouldn't have nagged you to go because you didn't want me to.
No, I did not.
I wouldn't have, begged and made that kind of thing. Because I do think about that stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's why it's my biggest gripe with online dating, because you've heard it a million times, the Tinder swindler, things like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to even get offline, because is this person safe? If I go all this way to meet someone, where is that? How is that going to end up? I do think about that stuff. I just think, to me, ideally, I would just meet someone in a very natural sense, some kind of meet cute, or we met in school or something like that, and it would just progress from there. So I have the important information, like you're saying, but it's also someone that I get on with. I have shared interests with, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. My criteria is very different.
Yes.
I was going to say, Aliyah, the thing is, I think you're absolutely right. You are very intuitive. You're a really, really intelligent young woman. I know you also, and not as well as your mum, but I know that you make sensible choices. But I think for us as parents, it's not you, it's them.
Yes.
We know that you make sensible choices. It's just that there are absolutely crazy individuals walking the planet, right? And they are predators waiting for, vulnerable young women, men equally, to do the wrong thing. So it's not that we don't trust your judgment. I completely trust Jada's judgment. I find her very street smart. She's intelligent. She's a savvy young woman, but it's not her. It's the crazy people out there, right? So as a parent, I completely get that. Our job is we just want to protect you, That's what we do, that's our intuition, isn't it? So I mean, that's where that's coming from. And it is difficult, I think, sometimes to take a step back and watch our children, because what's really difficult, Kay, is watching our children make mistakes. That's going to be hard for us. That's going to be really hard to know that you have a son who's older, so you have a little bit more experience. I started that sort of journey yet, because Jada has yet to introduce me to anyone yet, but I'm saying that's what's going to be really difficult, watching them have relationships that perhaps don't work, or for them to be upset or to be hurt,
or that you don't think are right for your child.
100%. Like, honestly, I'm going to coach.
You're going to have
somebody home.
Ventilate.
I'm going to have ventilate. I will.
Cool towel on the forehead.
Yeah. I'll need all that.
I do appreciate that. Like, you do want your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever to get along with your family. I do think that's very important. Like, if I brought someone home and they didn't gel well with you and Aaron, I'd be like, oh, well, that's the end of that.
But, you know, the Jamaican spirit tech thing, you don't even have to open your mouth. If my spirit not take you.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
My mum met someone. She said her spirit did not take the person. That was it. She was actually proved right. Sounds a G. Like, she said her spirit did not take the person, and lo and behold, the person was no good.
Yes. So that's the ancient wisdom. That even if you're street smart, I can pass that on to you. But, you know, that also features in there, local spirit tech thing.
Yeah. And we're good at that, you know? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I will say as well, what you were saying about the isolation of it. I think maybe you're projecting a little bit, because it's not like I've met someone on like a girls' holiday and I've brought them home, or that's the kind of situation I'm in. If I meet someone, and again, I don't drive, it'll most likely be within like a 25-mile radius where I could bring them home to you regularly and hang out and things like that. And knowing me, I probably would, because I really love you and I love spending time with you and Aaron. So I would end up probably being like, hey, come over.
Yeah, true.
So I don't think that would be a problem for me in the way it was for you.
Yeah, because obviously I had to hide and date because that wasn't a thing. In a Christian home,
Grandma would have lost it.
And my dad too, he was like, you cannot study man and book. So it was.
Yeah, but that's a great idea.
Until you left university. Where I was rearing to go from I was 16. So it was all done in secret and behind their back. So there's a little bit of that in there as well. Yeah, I'll accept that. That is true.
What's really nice though is that you want to have a really open relationship with your daughter, which was the opposite of your experience growing up. So I can see that, and you two are so close. I love watching a relationship. I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe Jada and I have a slightly different relationship in that we're very, very close. I hope she tells me lots of things. But I think I haven't been as open and as sort of relaxed about dating as perhaps you have been. So I've always said to my daughter, I don't think it'd be helpful or appropriate to date until she was about 18. I thought that would be kind of good age. Because I think that there's a lot of maturity that comes with dating as well, right? So I think to be mentally prepared for what is the whole dating thing, I think is another big thing as well. Because I think your emotions are attached. And I think that sometimes we don't think about that side. We think about the physical, and how to use protection, or the technicalities of it. But actually, I thought a lot about how emotional impactful relationships can be, and I felt that 18 was a better age for her to be able to process and kind of be able to deal with that. So that was my take on it. I don't know how you felt about that, me saying to you 18. Did it make any difference to you? Or
I didn't really miss out on much because where I went to school, the boys weren't really like all that. No offense. As well, like, I wasn't naming names, obviously, but like seeing my friends being like, oh, happy 1 month. I was like, no, this can't be real. Like,
oh, did you get my world? What with the emoji? Oh,
yes. I think it was quite cute, but I just felt like at that age, not all the time, I'm not generalizing, but young kids and adults can be quite like obsessive over it. And I was very much like focused on my books and doing my little theatre on the side. I wasn't really looking like that makes sense. So I think I teased mum being like, oh, it's not fair. But in my head, I was like, do I actually want to? Not really, no. So, yeah.
I don't know how I convinced you to let me go on a date at 14.
Because I was going to do it. It was in Costa Coffee. They had a table within eye shot of me, and I was in the corner with my coffee.
It's not that big of a cluster. You may as well sit next to her.
And I said, yeah, have a coffee, have a chat outside of school. I couldn't really hear what they were saying, but I could see that they were talking. It did go south when your brother goes, oh, where are you? And I goes, oh, we're at Costa's, but don't come. Aliyah's on a date. I might as well have said come.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought.
He comes in, brings his friend, walks over to the guy, shakes his hand so hard it nearly broke.
Bearing in mind, this is a scrawny little tweedy white boy who's also 14, and Aaron was what? 18. And he's physically very fit. He was a footballer at the time. And he's just like basically may as well crushed his hand.
Yeah.
Even that, I've got the protection.
Yeah, you do have the protection.
Aaron would hit my lid if anyone ever dared cross me. I mean, I would first. He'd have to beat me to it. And then is he going to hug you when he leaves? Because I'm watching. That's where I wasn't going on dates at 14.
So yeah, I allowed her at 14 because she's mature and intelligent, does make good decisions. She wasn't flaky, but I had to be there.
Yeah, and I hear that 100%. I do hear
that. Came to the 17-year-old.
So Jada and Aliyah, if we were to say have a get together, let's say your mum was cooking up a storm.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm hungry already. Mm-hmm. And we brought, we invited a few other people. And you felt you were vibing with somebody. Would you, just out of principle, because we knew them, would you go, I don't care how much we're vibing, not going to happen because my mom invited you? Or would you go, you know what, this is good?
Well, I wouldn't write it off, but I don't want to agree to anything, so I feel like you're just going to invite the specific person that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
A couple other people have sprung to mind. Like, I feel like you're just going to do it if I say yes.
Am I? What I'm saying is, would you be
open to it?
Because of course, we'll be eating, dancing, moving about. We're not watching you, but you might feel a little connection with somebody. Would you be open to that?
Watching though, I feel like I'm gonna have two several eyes burning at the back of my head. I think it's me. I don't know. I'm not really like an overly affectionate person anyway. So I think I'd just be there for the look of the drinks and the food, and I'd chat and be civil.
Yeah.
In front of my family.
I guess that's another element, isn't it? Perhaps you wouldn't want to meet somebody in my presence. That's just not.
It would feel like not organic, but you know what I mean? Like
it would feel uncomfortable slightly.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not in the mindset for it.
Pardon?
I feel like I just wouldn't be in the mindset.
Yeah.
This is a family friend, like I'd immediately.
It's like a family get together, everyone's just chill, socializing. Friends, platonic, that's what I would think in my head.
Wow.
You know what I think it would be like, Jada?
Yeah.
You know in cartoons when someone's spying on someone, they've got newspaper and they cut 2 holes for their eyes?
Honestly, yeah.
I wouldn't. Me and Karen could chat for hours. We'd be chatting in the kitchen. I wouldn't be watching.
Yeah, but I feel like you can just sense them. It's like the minute I started talking to someone, you'd be like...
I would be like, oh, Jay, what's that lovely guy? Oh, what's his name? Exactly how she would say it. Exactly.
I would. That's fair.
Jay.
Wasn't he nice?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, I feel defeated, Karen. I don't know about you, but I feel defeated. Like there is no way she's going to let it happen.
Look, if you presented me someone that I genuinely thought on a physical, emotional, and mental level, yes, I wouldn't write it off. But you are yet to do so.
Oh, okay. I'll take that too.
Well, you got your work cut out there, Kay. So you know, you can continue to try. She's given you permission to keep going. I think is that fair?
I think you would just. I wish you would just accept my no a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Because the question about this week, I said no, and you keep going like. But maybe.
But you haven't tried.
But no.
Oh, that's the thing. Okay, so we've got to accept when it's a no then. Next.
Yeah, I'm going to struggle with that, but I will accept it.
Do you agree, Jada, though? Like, I don't know how your mum is. I can only speak for my mum.
Not very often. Like, I'll say stories and she'll be like, do you not think that's like, but didn't you interpret it as this bit? I'm like, no, I didn't see anything of it. But going back to the whole, like, think of this. I just think maybe if like we sat down with our parents or our moms and was like, okay, give you like not like a bulletin, but like a rough outline
of what you're looking for.
Yeah, then maybe.
Okay, so if we have like a bit of a checklist,
yeah,
we know what to look for. All right.
Yes.
Now I'm excited.
That's it.
I'm excited.
Okay, I'm excited for that.
Right.
You know what's already top of the list.
Like that.
Okay. Little clipboard.
A clipboard
with your little magnifying glass, driving around the town, scouting people like suspiciously. Yeah, I can picture that.
Yeah, good one. I like that. Okay, we'll do that.
I love that idea, Jada. That gives me something to work with.
I've told you already. This is no offense. I love my brother. If Aaron would be friends with them,
then no. Then it's a hard no. If it's somebody who will be friends with her brother, it's a hard no. No negotiations.
There's only one friend of Aaron's that is remotely appealing.
All right, we've got a couple of minutes left. So any final words before I wrap up and give our social media contact details?
I was just going to say it's been a pleasure talking to you two young ladies. I've really enjoyed tonight. That was a bit of fun. And now we will discuss the checklist. I'm ready to write this checklist now. Got a pen and paper at the ready.
I was suggesting this now. I'm actually regretting saying anything. So I was going to say, you guys are listening. And yeah, peace out.
Jada, quick, run to uni.
Jada, Leah, thank you so much for joining us at short notice. I've had a lot of laughs, but I've learned a lot too from both of you. So thank you so much. And to our listeners, just wanted to update you that we have something very exciting in the works coming. We are excited about it. We hope you are too. I won't say what it is, but so far it's involved a photo shoot and we all looked stunning. So keep your eyes peeled to our Instagram. But for now, for this week, just want to say thank you for listening. We can be contacted at beautifullymelanatedpodcast@gmail.com. Or Instagram is at beautifullymelanatedpodcast.
Yep.
And as usual, we would welcome any feedback, any thoughts from parents or children on the topic we've talked about tonight. Let's just hear your views. You might think it's a great idea and everybody should go along with it. So yeah, let's hear from you. But for now, goodbye, take care and have a blessed week.
Thank you. Bye.
We are beautifully